Leslie from A Friend to Knit With. Welcome to episode 10 of A Friend to Knit With podcast. I can be found on Ravelry as Friend to Friend. On Instagram, I'm Leslie Friend, and my blog name is A Friend to Knit With. Thank you so much for stopping by, for checking back, or for visiting for the first time. This is a podcast about knitting, and I will sprinkle in a little bit of my life. But if you're here, I'm sure you're as passionate about knitting as I am. So what I have been saying for years is that my days are not complete without a little bit of knitting, and it is so true. So I'm just going to dive right into my finished objects. What I'm wearing, is what was based off of the Ida sweater, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. I wanted to make a Missoni accomplished out of linen because Melissa was off of Espace Tricot, and I thought it would be, the weight would be great for the summer, and if I could do the Missoni accomplished with this hot pink and tan, it was going to be like my dream sweater. So I ordered the yarn and couldn't wait to make the Missoni accomplished. So if you saw my last podcast, I made it out of different yarn while I was waiting for this yarn. So by the time this yarn arrived, I was almost finished with that, and I decided I'm gonna make something else. And I wanted it to go quicker. So I held two strands together and did it of the linen and did a gauge, and perused Ravelry and found a sweater that I thought would work. And originally what I was going to do was just do the hot pink on the edges everywhere. So on the bottom, which I did a split seam on the bottom of this one, but I wanted just the hot pink everywhere. And I was knitting along, and I had bought 4 balls of the tan and only 1 ball of the hot pink, because that's all I thought I would use, and I didn't have enough yarn. So what had happened is I was with my ex-husband taking my son back to college to get to close up his one apartment, put it in storage, and bring him back with us, because he left in such a hurry back in March that this needed to happen before school so somebody else could move into his apartment. So it was one quick weekend, and I love to travel, and I love to pack my knitting first and think about what project I'm going to take on my knitting trip. They all turn into knitting trips. On my trip, it's always about, is this project too big? Is this yarn going to take up too much space? Do I need to find something smaller to pack? It's always, that's the first thing. What am I going to be working on when I'm traveling? So we were taking a car trip. It was going to be, 16 hours down. Was it 16? Sorry, 12. 12 hours down, 12 hours back. 6 hours into the trip, I ran out of yarn. I guess I didn't think I was going to finish this sweater. I guess I wasn't thinking. And I didn't even bring pink yarn. I only had the tan with me. So panicked, and my ex-husband has known me for 17, was married to me for 17 years. So he pretty much knew that I am passionate about my knitting, need to have my knitting. So we stopped at a Hobby Lobby. We stopped to get gas, and I Googled where a Hobby Lobby was, ran into the Hobby Lobby, bought a bunch of scrubby yarn, and I had my, Likey needles, my interchangeable needles, so I didn't have to buy any needles along the way. I'll show you more about that project in a minute, but I want to finish up with this. So I put it on Instagram. So when I came back from where I ran out, I just picked up the pink and started knitting, because I was sort of in the mood to finish the sweater, and I didn't want to purchase more yarn. So I was going to just use what I had to make this work. And it looked terrible. So if you want to see it, it's on Instagram. And so I ripped it back down to the armhole, and I added the pink with just by knitting 2 of the tan and 2 of the pink. So that gave it this little effect. And then literally just kept knitting with the pink. I didn't follow the neckline on the sweater. I ended up just knitting 3, knitting 2 together all the way around, and then binding off. And that seemed to work because I wasn't really exactly sure her neckline. So this is the Ida sweater, and I wasn't at the same point. I wasn't sure the measurement. She didn't have measurements or anything in this pattern. So I ended up just doing my own little sort of neckline. I will tell you, if you're a beginner, because I want to give you all the accurate information. She's from Norway, and so maybe it's the language barrier, but there's not a lot of information in this pattern. And if you're a beginner, I don't really recommend it. If you have access to someone who could help you with it, then I do recommend it. It's done on a bulky yarn, so I think it's quick, easy to wear sweater. But I think if you're a beginner, it would be hard to follow. So I'm just gonna tell you that. And I did make some changes to it. And the sizing, I think this is a large. I wasn't getting the exact gauge. So yeah, this is a large. But I am pretty happy with how it turned out. I think I'll wear it a lot. I like the pop of color of the pink. It turned out much better. I was about ready to throw it in the garbage after I added the pink initially. So I'm glad I attempted something else and that it actually worked out. So I will get to the Lawrenson sweater, but I want to show you what I was so passionate about knitting on in the car for the rest of the 16 hours, I guess, 18 hours. So scrubbies. All right, I don't know if you watched my last podcast, but my friend Suzanne, thank you Suzanne, had sent me a washcloth in this yellow scrubby yarn. So I had my interchangeable needles, so I knew I could just grab some of the scrubby yarn. So we stopped for gas and I ran in and came out with a bag full of different colors and different yarns because so Hobby Lobby has 2 yarns. I know that Joann Fabrics and Michaels have a scrubby yarn like this, but this is Hobby Lobby's brand, the Yarn Bee, and it is $4.29 and you can get 15 scrubbies out of this. I will link everything below because I have had so many questions about these when I put them on Instagram. They are fast, rewarding, and it's actually really fun to do your dishes with these in the washcloth version or this round one. But so they have the actual scrubby yarn, just like that one, the traditional one, and then they have this thicker one too, which makes scrubbies like this. All right. And I haven't used this one yet. I've been using these in my basement makeshift kitchen because we still don't have a kitchen. So I am washing a lot of dishes and enjoying every dish I wash. But these are really fun too. Like I loved the colors of these. My girlfriends all seem to think these are great too because they have been using them. I've just been saving mine for the kitchen. But yeah, I'm very passionate about my scrubbies. Okay, I wanted to share something else. My sister and I thought that you could make the white ones for Christmas paired with a rectangular. I'll share this too. I think it was Very Pink Knits has this rectangle. You know, if you've made dish cloths, they have the traditional square one. So she also has a rectangle, which would work great in the shower. It wouldn't be as cumbersome. And then the white one for your face for a little exfoliator. Don't exfoliate too much, just once or twice a week. But wouldn't it be cute to give this as a little gift? You could roll it up, put a handmade soap or a beautiful soap in with that. Well, that's what we were thinking. If you think I'm crazy, then you can just keep it to yourself. No, but so that's what we were thinking would be fun. Anyhow, I have been loving these. They take about 15 minutes max to make, and you're completely satisfied. Maybe you are like me. But we thought really it'd be a great little gift. Put 3 of these in a little baggie. So cute. But there's my second finished object, and now I will get to the beautiful Lawrenson Sweater by my friend Lily Kate France. So Lily Kate made another sweater that I absolutely adore with little puff sleeves with a rolled neckline, twisted rib on the neck and the sleeve. And the pattern, I'll show you in a minute, but it does have some twisted rib detail down the side. I omitted that in this because of the texture of the yarns that I used. And I just didn't think it probably needed it. But I'll show you what the pattern looks like. My friend Lily wearing it. So that's it. See the detail along the side. And a little puff sleeve. I'm trying to knit things. I'm usually a knitter that knits a more daytime sweater, sort of a rustic look, something that I can wear with jeans. And I'm trying to make some things that I would, when we get to go out again, that I would wear out to dinner or, you know, for fancy cocktail night, or just, you know, for those times. This isn't a day sweater, but it can be worn for dressier times. So what I did with this sweater is, and I'll show it to you up close, is I mixed the Julie Asselin Melange #1 with the La Bien-Aimée Silk Mohair, and it came up with this beautiful Marl effect. And I was on Fruity Knitting podcast, I think it's episode 106, and her guests were Lily, she was on that one too, and Cecilia, who was talking about marling yarns and the color effect and joining up to 5 yarns even to get the weight and the color and the effect that you want. And it becomes this beautiful sort of one-of-a-kind combination. So because it just, whatever color's on top of your needle is the one that shows up in the sweater, or in the garment, or in the article. So this is what it looks like up close. The colors are, this is the La Bien-Aimée Silk Mohair, and that's actually the color. It's like a deep dark purple. And then the Julie Asselin is it's more of a gray. So together it brought out almost a black. So I really love doing that, and it opens up so many possibilities with your stash. Just imagine what you can mix. But when you actively bring these 2 yarns, 3 yarns, 4 yarns, 5 yarns together, and even change, keeping one consistent and changing the others, she goes into all of this on the podcast, and it's really interesting. So those are my finished objects. I will show you what I have on my needles. I have some of the same things on my needles that I've had on my needles. The Melted Mirage by Stephen West. I'm making very slow progress on that. And I also have on another shawl, which is Breathe in Hope by Casapinka. And I am making some progress on that, but I've been pretty much addicted to Frida Sweater. So if you watched Caddy Jack's podcast, Jackie from Caddy Jack's made the Frida sweater, and I am copying it verbatim. So I am using exactly what she used, which is 2 strands of the Shibui Silk Cloud with 1 strand of the Shibui tweed. Silk tweed. Yes, I think it's silk tweed. There it is. And it's the Silk Cloud, Tweed Silk Cloud. And I think, so you hold together one strand of the tweed and 2 strands of the Silk Cloud. And it is giving me that. I think that the tweed was necessary. It just gives it a little more definition. So the top is lace work, and then it has a little poof on the sleeves, just on the shoulders to here, and then a slim sleeve. And I'll show you a picture of that. So there it is. I'm hoping that I did a big enough size. I don't want it too tight. It's supposed to have negative ease, but I don't want it to be too tight. So, and this is what I do when I have a chart. I always cut out the chart symbols and I tape it, and then I use a highlighter to mark off the rows to keep my brain focused. So yeah, that's it. And black is, you know, challenging for me to work on when the light is not good. So I've been trying to work on this in the morning with coffee, or in the daytime, catch a few rows. And then if I am working on it at night, then I'm gonna need a bright light. So, and I wanted to tell you a trick that my friend Christine, hi Christine, told me about. Putting it, these are little bags from IKEA, and putting them individually in each bag, because even if you put all 3 in a bag and are center pulling, mohair gets caught on each other. So it works really well keeping them separate. And then what happens is they can be separate, and by the time you start knitting, you keep moving it along, it becomes feels like one strand. But keeping them separate from the beginning and not getting twisted down low is the key to knitting with mohair. All mohair, not having any fingering weight or any other texture of yarn with it. So I love that tip. Thank you, Christine. So yeah, I think that's all I have to tell you. So thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope you all stay safe and healthy, and I hope you keep those fingers moving, and remember, you always have a friend to knit with. All right, take care. Bye.